Welcome to the Smoking Word.
What's up? The Smoking Word podcast is brought to you by CasaDeRock.com. That's my spot where I got all my merch. If you want to support the show, support the movement, go there. And we got the last bunch of camo NYHC caps available. So get them while you can. We're about to drop a lot of new stuff. So again, if you want to support the movement, CasaDeRock.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at HoyaRock357. Keep you up to date with everything Madball, everything Smoking Word, and everything Casa de Rock. Or if you just want to hear me talk some shit, check me out on there. And also make sure you follow us. Let me explain something. The way this works is if you want to keep hearing this shit talk, you have to subscribe. Subscribe and rate it. We on Spotify. You wanted it on Spotify, we put it on Spotify. All you Apple heads, you wanted it on Apple, we got it on Apple Music. And YouTube, for you motherfuckers that want to watch it, catch us on our YouTube channel, subscribe, like it, do all that good stuff, spread the word, support all underground podcasts. And today, our guest on the Smoking Word, my boy and the Vox behind Wisdom and Chains, my bro Joe. Let's set this shit off. Yeah,
my son's my sound tech and my lighting tech. He's making me look my best here.
Yeah, I like that.
Is it okay that I'm like this, or you want me to turn like the other way?
It's your world. However whatever. I think this one got a more slimming look, the long way. Now, you gotta. I only wear lines that go down.
I need that too.
No, believe me, I need that shit. I'm trying to get my full Monty body ready for the 2021 calendar issue.
For the new reveal, the new Madball reveal.
Yeah.
Madball.
No, the scratch and sniff fucking What's up?
Scratch sniff swimsuit catalog.
Everybody, ladies out there, look up the Madball scratch and sniff fucking summer issue 2021.
Oh my God.
Yo, what you been into? What's
do
up
I
with
sound
you?
okay?
What's up?
Oh man, I just want to make sure I sound all right.
Nah, you sound good. You sound like Pavarotti. It just seems like there's a slight delay, but it don't bother me. It gives me a chance to catch up.
Yeah, you can collect your thoughts.
What's up with you?
Make sure my artwork is displayed properly.
Yeah. Yo, what's up with you? The last time I saw you was on Instagram making pizzas, and I was hating.
Yeah. Did it look good to you?
It looked really good.
Okay. So, I got a pizza oven, and it's a portable wood-fired pizza oven. And me and my son make pizzas.
Yeah.
So if anybody needs a pizza party, fucking kill it. And
pizza.
It started out as I haven't made pizza since I was like 18 and working in a little pizza restaurant or something, and I kind of remembered how to do it, and I showed everything that I know how to do to my son.
Do your kid.
He kind of Anthony, Anthony, he took it over. He's so good at it. He's way better at it than I am at actually making the pizzas. But I'm the oven guy, But yeah, we have fun, man. We do. We've done a couple of parties, maybe like 3 or 4 parties so far for like groups of people, and it's fun, man. We have a really good time doing it.
That's dope.
I love feeding.
And that's my whole shit. My whole shit is, everybody, I'm not part of the whole pizza mafia these motherfuckers are part of. Well, whatever you may be hearing out there in the dark web with these pizza motherfuckers. All I gotta say is this: I just got excited from watching Joe on Instagram. He was making these pies. You and Luke. Luke had a good square that I actually saved the video, and I would look at it because I was like, man, I want that. But, you know, I cut gluten out of my life as much as possible. So I just watch gluten from a distance.
I'm working on a good gluten-free crust, like a recipe. I'm trying to develop a recipe of a gluten-free and a cauliflower crust because that's big in vegans. And I've actually had a cauliflower crust that it doesn't taste like pizza crust. It doesn't taste like pizza, but it's really good. It tastes like something else.
No,
that's
by
really
me,
good, you know?
Yo, there's no shame in my game. I get a broccoli, what do you cauliflower crust pizza spot by me that's banging. And yo, you know why? Yo, there's a good calorie count on it, and the homeboy like me right now is counting them calories.
Have you? I'm sure you've discussed this with somebody, but on your podcast. But like, you have lost a lot of weight. Am I right?
I lost some. Definitely.
You look fantastic.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Yeah.
You look fantastic. So can you share with a fellow, lifelong,
we Huskies. We Huskies.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, first it starts with a lot of stress. You get a lot of stress, right? And that's a good starting point, right? And then
that's always a good spot.
You start with stress. Okay. You don't got stress. It ain't gonna be as easy as it was for me. No, but
okay.
Long story, when this whole shit went down, part of it's stress, but not that. But that made me say, when there's shit going on, you need to do something. You know what I mean? And I was like, I started hitting the heavy bag, and then I would hit the heavy bag, and then not everybody may know, but I wanted to tell you, by the way, because the last time I saw you was at my mom's wake, correct? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So starting with that was a big eye opener, and to me to get my shit in check. So I was already, hitting the heavy bag, working that out. But then I said, after my mom passed, I said, okay, everybody don't know this, but I'm a single dad. So I said, let me, start. I gotta tune in on my temple. So basically what I started doing was every day I made sure I got up and I did something. So I would do 30 minutes, 45 minutes of just hitting the heavy bag. I would jog. At first, I started jogging in place in my yard. I would put the podcast on and do that. But I think a big part of it is when you start counting calories, as stupid as that sounds, it ain't stupid, but it sounds like more of a pain in the ass than it really is. You start picking your fights better. And when you pick your fights better with your meals, it all works together. It's, I was never that smart, but basically, I cut out all red meat. I just eat chicken, fish, or I don't eat it at all, and just mad vegetables, right? And I count how much calories I take a day, and I make sure I work out at least 45 minutes a day. Basically,
well, that's amazing, man. You really look awesome, man. Like you always look good. You always look cool, but like just to see this, like you look fantastic. So
thank you.
I'm happy for you.
It's crazy. Like I feel like I know I lost, but I feel more the way people are tell me that I lost, because they're more like amped about it than I am in a way. Because to me, I'm like, I know I lost, but I still I feel like the same handsome guy I was. Yeah.
You are. You definitely are.
No, but I just felt like I know I dropped some, but other people bug out more. That's what made me realize I dropped. I didn't know how much. I knew I dropped some, but I wasn't paying attention so much on.
You're not looking at that number. You're looking at just what you take in.
I was looking at how many. The number I was looking at how many years alive I want to be. That was the numbers I started looking at. Straight up, I wasn't so much that I said. Basically, my whole. I always knew I was a single dad. You know what I mean? But then after my mom's passed, that really got thrown in my face, and then I had to. There's two ways you can make. Like I said to other people, you can lay down, get down and lay down and stay down, or, you got to try to make some power moves. And my baby boys need me. So I was like, I just started making a point. I said, it's because my boys basically kept me in check. So I thank God. That and counting those calories, which is a bitch sometimes because I want a Big Mac. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah, it's hard, man. There's so many. It's like this whole, our whole country is designed around what's in between the food spots.
Oh, yeah.
And there's more food spots. The food spots, there's more food spots. So like that's sort of how you build a town in America. How do you build a town in 2020? Let's say 2019. You would put your grid in, and then you say, all right, where's the McDonald's going?
Yeah.
Okay, where's the Hut going? Where's Domino's? Where's who's gonna deliver?
Yep.
That's the way towns are built, and it makes no sense because it doesn't have health in mind. It's like a business transaction, and there's so many different healthy ways to eat and take care of yourself. We have friends who've been talking about it for years.
Exactly.
And it's hard to hear it because, like, I don't want to hear it. I'm fucking hungry, man. I want this thing. I want this specific thing. Exactly. And what you're telling me, I won't allow me to have that thing. So I don't want to hear what you have to say. And it's hard to hear it sometimes. But yeah, man, wake up calls.
None of us had denied it, but it didn't matter to us because, we were about, hey, okay, that's your belief. This is our belief. I think the thing that, not for everybody, but especially I almost speak for you, but definitely for me, when you have kids, you start thinking for them. And then that's where you got to start saying, all right, I may have not given a shit, but I want I'm worried about my boy. I want him to have a father for as long as we can. Oh, okay, I got to do something so he gets that. It's no longer about, our shit no more. It's about the kids' shit. So that alone saves us and also gives them, unless you're a deadbeat dad. And, if you're a fucking deadbeat dad, fuck you, because I don't understand how you could be one. You know what I mean? Like,
that's not even going to be a concern of yours if you're a deadbeat dad. You're not thinking about staying alive for your kids anyway.
Yeah.
There's also something in the value of, as a parent, allowing your kids to see you do something that's difficult. Allowing your kids to see you fail at something and then get back up and try again.
Yeah.
Or there's value in your kids seeing you like figuring out things, like eating a healthy meal. There's like a tremendous value in that for them moving forward when they become adults and parents. There's value in anything that you do that's a positive in your life can affect your kids positively. So, I mean, I'm just saying salute to you for doing what you're doing because I think it's awesome, man. Yes. I'm in the bit myself, and it's a lifelong.
Yeah, I want some of that. Yeah.
That's coconut water, man. This is what I'm.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So I'm trying to try to remember to stay hydrated. Like pick a thing. Remember to stay hydrated.
Absolutely.
Remember I need to eat at least this many greens a day. I need to eat something that's red, something that's green, something that's purple, whatever, you know what I mean? Like just little simple things and then build on it from there,
You know who you just got to think like every European person we know, because those motherfuckers know what they were doing when we would be like, what, no bacon, no eggs, no, we used to, we're Americans. We like going big or going home. That's the part I love about us also. But in that department, that shit, it's not. That's why you see them, what they eat in the morning, muesli, granola, right? Like kind of what we end up with. You know what I'm doing now every morning? Oatmeal. It's like I turned into those motherfuckers. Shout out to all my Euros out there. But then, then you say, okay, later you get your little bit heavier and then, okay, a nice or bigger lunch and different. To me, the more I was training at home during the whole COVID shit, I felt my gains already as far as my gas tank. So that on top of, I got to stay busy because everything was again, I was, with everything with my mom's and then thinking of my son. I had to step, my game up. And I was like, yo, I can't fuck this up. You know what I mean? My son's just got me. So I was like,
right.
That's when I started like, okay, yo, let me watch what I'm eating. And okay, what exactly? Not just, I don't just not eat this because of that. I look at my whole shit. What do I need every day? What they say, you need some grains, some protein, okay, I make sure I do all that. Okay, I got that. And what I make sure I gotta get up and I gotta train every day. I take a day off here. I say, I got to. Very simple. I said, my sons want to have a father for as long as possible. That shit's on me. Period. So, enough said by that, they're going to have that. So I said, and I'm home during this shit. What else we're going to do? That's the one thing that came out good out of this shit. This shit was a dark wake-up call on a lot of shit. Not just eating and whatever, everything, just the plan forward, everybody, everybody got a different, you yourself, everybody had different things happen that put them to another spot in their life where they had to revamp and, your work and all that and get together. And then now you start that next chapter. We're in an age bracket where people forget that. In my head, I'm still fucking 18 years old. We all know
it's hard not
35.
To as your, like when you were at your best, that's like how you tend to like see yourself at that for eternity. I saw that funny meme today about you ever see those Hard Times news memes?
Yeah.
And it said something about a 40-year-old man who identifies as the best 2 years in his 20s. Yeah. And it was like, a lot of us do. Like people tend to like they dress all the way through the rest of their life as whatever the high point was, they dress that way the whole way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It becomes like you're stuck in a little time capsule of when you saw yourself as like an ideal. Oh man, I'm this. And then throughout life, experiences happen, you know what I mean? Things happen and you still see yourself at that and you're like, why is things crumbling around me? Why I'm the shit. Why is this happening to me? I don't understand. But it's like you're still seeing yourself as something that it was just an ideal.
Yeah.
It was a time capsule. That's not, everything evolves, everything progresses, everything changes. And if you're not willing to change with your needs or with the times or whatever, like you're just going to get, you get yourself in trouble.
And that's what happens. You become that old guy living in the past. I mean, like there's nothing wrong with that. But like what you said, people felt good at that. That's the best they've ever felt. And like that's like the guy who has the business job. He's a lawyer or something or whatever. But he got the car he had when he was a teen. Like Frank the Tank kind of guy. But then you realize it's like, the guy he basically left his high point of his life, and he thought it ain't all about money. You want to do something that you love. And I think that's what happens when you get those people that look like they're having flashbacks is because no matter how good they're doing, they're not happy. You know what I mean? Because I think if you're happy what you're doing, you're going to change how you're living. You just, it goes with the times. But
I had a really interesting conversation yesterday with Sharky. You know Sharky?
Yeah, of course.
From up our way, And it was about like tribal, the way hardcore is split into like tribal groups, right? Yeah. It's such a unique thing. What we were talking about was the way how food is incorporated into that. So just to go along with like what we were just talking about, eating habits and stuff like that. There's like certain tribal rituals that we have as hardcore kids, right? Where a show itself, a hardcore show, is a crazy, chaotic. It's so nuts. If you're seeing it for the first time, it's insane.
Yes.
You go through your whole life seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows, and it becomes normal, right? But it's still insane. Even though it starts to feel normal, it doesn't change the fact that it is, in its essence, insane.
Yeah.
Okay. The way you unpack all of that insanity, how do you unpack it? You witness this thing with a group of your friends and other people who think like you. how do you break it down afterwards? You meal. Always. There's always food after a show. And especially if it's done correctly, a large group of people, maybe some people who don't even know each other, will end up at the same place, having a meal together and breaking down what just happened, the chaos. And then that forms a bond with people who are already friends. It you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it imprints something to people who weren't friends before. If you didn't have the meal, you just continue going to the show and seeing the same people over and over and over and over again. But once you solidify the crazy thing that just happened over a meal, now it becomes something else. Now it's a tribal ritual where you join forces with people and you become like, it turns into something else. It turns into something like almost like magical happens where you're how
connected.
Tribes are formed. That's how families are born. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a big part of that is that people gotta, you know, a big part of it is we don't eat with strangers. Even when we eat out at a restaurant, you're not like on a table with somebody. Now, when you're gonna eat where you're controlling who eats with you or not, and you still decide to eat together, that when you eat, you put your guards down. You know, both hands are getting used. Yes. You're focusing on something else, and you don't let everybody see you at your most vulnerable. That's like sleeping. Some people don't like to be seen eating or sleeping.
Yeah, there's something important about, well, just the act of it. Like you said, you put your guard down when you're eating, right? So just the act of eating with somebody means something on another level.
Yes.
And especially if one of the people is providing the food.
Exactly.
Right? So like if I bring my pizza oven to your house and I make pizza for your family, that means even more, because it's the best gift you can ever give somebody. I think I learned that from like a Krishna friend a long time ago or something. But the way that Krishna teaches, and I don't like follow that, but I always thought this was a cool idea. The greatest gift that you can give another person is the gift of food, because you're saying like, you can here, this is life. You're going to live another day. You're going to get strength from this. You're going to be healthy from this. I want to see you thrive. Take some food. That's like the greatest gift you can give another person. So there's something to be said for these hardcore meals that we have, where I call it a debriefing. Where like after a show, you get together and you have to debrief it because it's insane. Even after you've seen 1,000 of them, you might not realize it, but it's insane. Yeah, and you just saw some crazy stuff, and people are doing like a mock battle with each other.
That's what it is.
And other people are doing this like camaraderie dance, and other people are diving on top of people like fucking lunatics. So like the whole thing is so crazy that it has to be broken down every single time. And the best way to do it is over food, over good food that's shared between friends and strangers that you want to be friends with. Yeah. And that's how you that's how it clicks. Where you really become friends with somebody is you have that meal together, and it almost always happens over that meal.
Yeah, over food. Yeah, I mean, that's like some primitive caveman, that over water, I guess also when you got to share also, the one watering hole back in the day, people get there, it becomes, you got to stare at each other.
You have a battle over the watering hole. You can't have like bloodshed in the watering hole. So if we're either going to ruin this watering hole for everybody, or we're going to have peace.
Oh, absolutely. Hell yeah. But man, food is so good, man. Let me tell you, there's a lot of shit I cut out that I think about all the time. Like I tell you, I always say, if I'm going to eat red meat, it's going to be good fake meat. That means Big Mac meat. Something about the Big Mac. I'm telling you, like, it's only
that sauce. That special sauce.
It's the special sauce, lettuce, cheese, and the sesame bun.
Yeah.
That shit is heaven.
So they put pickles on there?
Put the pickle on it too. Yes.
Throw it in.
Throw it in. Animal it. Right? What is that? You had the whole animal style. You ever fuck with that In-N-Out in California?
That's In-N-Out, yeah. A little bit. I mean, it was definitely good. You know what I haven't had it in a while, but like something that's very good is Five Guys. You ever go to a Five Guys burgers and fries?
I know you said this. I have a problem with having Five Guys in my mouth. That's the one thing. Yeah. Yeah. Like my son roasted. Yo, no, that's good, but for some reason it's like a $20 burger, and if I'm gonna pay $20, that shit better say Wag you. You know what I mean? That's the one thing I got.
I don't think I ever had Wagyu, but I heard some good things.
Yeah, I heard some good things. Let me tell you something. I cut out. All I do is once in a while chicken breast and salmon, which I was always a chicken guy. But man, I think of like the shittiest food now.
Check this out. My son is really into cooking now. He's like really, really into it, and he wants to like master all different types of cooking, right? So if this is a trigger warning for the vegans, okay, you might not want to hear this, but he wanted to make Thanksgiving dinner this year, and I was like, man, that's a big responsibility, because if you fuck it up, man, you ruin the whole day for 20 people, you know.
America's Most Wanted.
I said, what? Yeah, I said, why don't you do a practice meal or two? Do like a practice Thanksgiving. So he was looking up like Thanksgiving recipe ideas, and check out what he did. He deboned a turkey.
Oh man, I might need to fly over here.
Bro, everything except the leg bones he took out of the turkey. It took him a long time to do it, but he took all the bones out of the turkey. So now it's like I don't know. It's just like a shirt, a turkey shirt.
Oh man, right? A tasty turkey shirt.
He filled it with cornbread, sausage. Stuff.
I love cornbread.
Wrapped it all up. He wrapped the whole thing back up again, put pins in it so it's all together, and it looks like a turkey again, except it's filled with stuffing instead of bones now. Okay, and then he cooked the whole thing, and then when it was cooked, he cut right through it like a loaf of bread, and there's no bones in the way. Yeah. So he cuts right through it, and you get a section of turkey, like that's turkey on the outside and sausage, cornbread stuffing on the inside. Yeah. It was one of the best things I ever tasted in my life.
You are killing me.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
You are killing me, because for everybody out there, I'm just throwing this out there, all you cornbread makers. I love cornbread.
Dude, cornbread is like something special about cornbread. And
any roasted bird, I'm always in there for a roasted bird. You know, for some reason, you know. God,
yeah.
Man, how good is cornbread?
He killed it, and I never even knew you could do that. I never even considered the idea of. It almost makes turkey gross to me that you could like take the bones out. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's like a.
You know where I seen that? I had it once, but to tell you the truth, we fucked it up cooking. And even though we fucked it up, I think it was some real American shit. The turducken.
Turducken, yeah.
You know that one?
That's how they do it?
Yeah, it's the turkey, the duck, and like a chicken. And then they debone it, and they fill it with cornbread, and then they sew it shut. You know, it sounds like, oh yeah, it was a fantasy a bunch of years ago. And me and my wife, rest in peace, when she came to America, well, for everybody out there that don't know, she was from Europe. But when she came in, she heard about it. She was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" I go, "This is some real American Gavone shit." And then
she said, "What's the fattest thing?"
Just what the freaking?
What's the fattest thing you do?
Yeah. She goes, "Oh, what else you fat Americans want to eat?" No, but she was like, "What?" I go, "Yeah, they take a turkey, the chicken, and the duck." And they fold and they do, but basically we just bought like a small version of it that they sold online. We said, you know what, we're gonna get this thing just because, you know, the media got to us. It was all over, like, you know, on TV, and it was like a little fantasy a couple of years ago, like maybe 15 years ago, or something like that. We ordered this thing, but we didn't cook it right, and even then, it's like, come on, man, it's just being a fucking animal. Like, you know, you don't even it just tasted like everything. You know, it didn't taste like nothing. You know, like some real American shit. I love being over the top in some things, but you know,
in something.
Too many crossing things just don't
It's like everything in moderation, even going over the top.
Exactly. You know? That way you can moderate longer.
Sometimes you got to do it, but you got to do it with moderation, man.
Absolutely.
I think
you got to live.
Food is like it's so incredible, man. Just like it goes so far beyond just the fuel for your body. Like it means so many other things to people, and like I don't know if it's just I don't know if other countries have like stuff like Food Network. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure they probably do, but like the Food Network has. I don't see it as I've heard people refer to it as like a real negative thing, or it's greed or gluttony, or you know, just showing how much excess we have. But I don't think that's what it is. I think it's more of a I think people really like that community thing that food does. It brings people together, and it creates a this weird tribal ritual, and it's just like it's like an homage to
and the cook and the cook in the house is a rock star. Oh, that you also get shine from that. You know, it feels good. You're doing something that you may like, you know, somebody else likes, and now they like it and they're throwing it back. Yo, who doesn't? You know, you get that attention. If you're into cooking, now you got an audience for, you know, it's like being in a band. You know, sure, we do it for ourselves, but it's great when somebody's clapping for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. It kind of like says, oh, good, somebody else besides me likes this shit. And then with food.
Yeah, and it's almost like the scary part is writing the song, right? Before anybody hears it, and you're like, I like it.
Yeah,
I
know.
That confirmation from other people, and you're like, yes, okay, cool, it worked. I did it right. Because it's like you like it, but then it's like, I'm sure if you're a cook, you know what I mean, or a chef, you make the thing and then you give it to the person who's going to eat it, and you sit in the back like,
yeah. It's like, I know.
And they enjoy it, and you're like, yes, okay, cool, I did it. And if they make a face like, ooh, you know what I mean, then it's, you know, you fucked up, and you got to.
And if you make a face and somebody's feeding you, you're a fucking asshole, because you're supposed to take that one on the chin. You know, you're supposed to gas them up. You never tell the truth in that situation. You eat it, you nod your head, you go, delicious. You crazy?
The macaroni sour, the peas are mush, and the chicken tastes like wood.
Yeah, and did you go to that pizza spot? I mean, I don't want to get into the pizza thing, but that pizza spot that they went to, the guy in Brooklyn, I saw Luke and a bunch of the other guys went. Were you part of that group?
Yeah, no, I didn't go. I'm gonna go to the next one, but it's like a real like pilgrimage. Like he takes you through like stories.
Yeah.
You know how like the best Food Network shows is always like Anthony Bourdain, because it's like
a story.
It's a story, right? That's what Nino does at his place. Like he brings you through like stories of like what he's cooking for you, and it's he's amazing, man. We've been eating his pizza for years, and he's incredible, man. But he's just, it's more than just food. It's about the story, and it's like he's giving you like an experience and a piece of like a culture that you didn't grow up this way. He's sharing something about his life with you. It's pretty fucking cool, man. Really cool.
That's funny. Me and my son watched them a long time ago on YouTube, because my son loves pizza, and we were watching him flip pizzas, like juggle pizza dough on his body. He was like, it's like some old footage, I guess, when he was coming up or something, but he was like freestyling with pizza dough. throwing it in the air like a basketball, like doing tricks and shit.
He's the pizza champ, man. He really is. He's incredible, and he has like really original ideas with pizza, and he also does like really incredible traditional things with pizza. And I mean, pizza itself, like, come on,
it's amazing.
That is just
you know how much the more that I was never the biggest pizza guy. I grew up eating pizza, but I was never that pizza guy. And then I got into it older, like really, like just in general, like, yo, man, a good pie, a good slice is great, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, you don't want to be counting calories and thinking about pizza, because that shit's a big hit to your calorie count. And that's the one part about it. Yo, you know, 2 slices don't do nothing, right? 2 slices is freaking 600-700 calories, amigo. That's just mucho calories.
2 slices is like 2 meals, you know?
You know, I look at that and be like, yo, I can have 2 chicken breasts plus this with some of this, you know, with a set. I'm like, yo, fuck that. I want to, you know, and then you think about being full. All right. You don't think of, you know, the bells and whistles. You think of like, yo, you know, like this, what can I get in that's good enough?
Yeah, like, is it more important? I'm asking a question here. Is it more important to be full or to have something that tastes amazing? Like, what's the most important thing at the point that you're at in life, like, of what you're trying to accomplish?
Right now,
what's the most important to you?
For me right now, it shouldn't even be about, I like everything that I'm eating and all that. But right now, I did all my time doing that. Like, my objective is for my kids. So that means even if everything I had to eat right now had no taste, then that's what's on the menu, no taste. And that, you know, that's where I'm at with that. Like, you know, like in general, there's a point where I think taste should matter more than the other. You know what I mean? In everyday life, you should watch, you know, you can't have birthday cake every day. Then it, you know, it's no longer that special thing. You know, also you get a cake, it's a little piece because it's real rich and real, you know, enough. Then when you eat too much of it, you feel sick. You know, as you know, it's just kind of how the way we think. Obviously, my whole thing is what makes a meal more important nowadays is for a bigger picture that's already indented in my head. So I can't even play. You know, yeah, I cheat. You know, I'll have a cheat thing or that. But even then, my cheats aren't real cheats because I'm like, my brain is somewhere else with it. I'm in a war that goes to the day I croak. You know what I mean? And the war is just,
you're playing a survival game.
Yes. And for everybody out there, no, I'm not dying. Thank God, there's nothing like that. But I'm trying to prolong my life for my kids and for myself, but for my kids. So that means and I'm a single dad, so that means by all means necessary. At least, you know, with my lifestyle or whatever. But that's, you know, like now, that's what I said, man. I crave certain things, and I could have had my cheat days already, but then I feel like I'm at that point already where I'm like, yeah, I really want that, but fuck, I'll get this much and I'll fill up on this. My brain's already like, you know, semi-reprogrammed to be like, yo, you still like that. You may, you know, you think you like this more than that, but you like this, so that should be good enough. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You know, now I'm just nitpicking, you know, and then I said, okay. You know, you got to kind of bullshit yourself.
Yeah, I know. It's like a mental. It's like you're going against a lifetime, your entire lifetime of habits.
Oh,
you're trying to like you're trying to trick your brain into not going back to the same habits. And that's a tough battle, man. That's hard.
I listen, and that in the last 8 months since the whole shit started, that's why I cut out. I haven't blazed. I cut out coffee. I cut out red meat. Fucking. Wow. Oh, I did all of that in one shot, in one clip. And then I said, but what happened?
I was gonna say coffee. Like, did you?
Cut it out.
Was that difficult for you?
You know what it was? Because like I said, basically being out of work, you know, the whole COVID shit, my mom's passing, then just everything real life caught up to me. And then being lit wasn't taking me away from the problem. It was making me think even more. And then I started bugging myself out. And then, my mom's passing again, all that. And then just, she would help watch my oldest son. So now it's just me, my brother's here and all that. But, she was my son's mother, basically. So then when that happened, that kicked in, and, I'm more worried. It was more for my son. You know what I mean? And I'm like, fuck. And then that's where I told myself, out by thinking about the worst, everything, bugging myself out, I found all those things were adding to my shit. Not that they're the cause, but they weren't taking me away from it like I would have liked it. You know what I mean? Like, let me blaze and that take my head away from it. That shit just made me think about it deeper. Then I'm drinking 100 cups of coffee, and then I got the jitters, and I'm thinking all this crazy shit. I was like, this shit's making me feel where I can't control myself. And I'm always in control of myself. And I said, I got to cut out whatever's not making me be under control, because I'm a control freak when it comes to myself. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck that. And I said, that's what I got to cut out. And one day I just cut it out. But again,
wow.
Is that not like, I got it like that? That's because my sons, that's the only reason. That's the main reason. Because I knew I was a single father before that. But after my mom's, she was, my son had a mother figure, somebody else helping out in that department. So reality became extra real. And then my brain went into overtime. And then I said, okay, now I got to, all that shit I said that one day I had to do, that now's that day. So.
Yeah.
And the COVID shit,
well, that's like,
everything.
That's a cool, that's a good story. That's a good, like, that's the honorable way to do it, man. And that's awesome, man. That's good. It's good, like something positive. Whatever positive you can make out of something negative, and it doesn't take away the negative at all. But it's like it doesn't mean that it can't be positive. I think that's great. It's a crazy world, man. It's like if you could see the clock, if you could see the countdown clock, everything would be so much simpler. You know what I mean?
I know.
You say, okay, I have time to do this, I have time to do this, and I think I can squeeze that in too. But you don't know. It could be any fucking minute. So it's a crazy world, man. It's such a crazy concept that like you aren't going to be here.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's impossible to comprehend it. It's like to really comprehend it. How can you actually comprehend it? You lose people, but still, it's just like it's a hard thing to wrap your head around. That one day you're not going to be here, and then all of these loose ends are. Who's going to take care of the loose ends?
Yeah,
what's going to become of that?
Exactly,
and then make a list of the. Try to wrap up as many as you can, but like you can't. It's futile. It's absolutely futile to do that. To try to do it, you can do your best, and I think that's probably what we do as humans is try to like make things easier on the next generation, so they don't have as many struggles and things like that. But those same struggles are absolutely vital to understanding what it means to be a human. You'll never know what it means to love somebody until you lose somebody.
Yeah.
You don't know what it means to really appreciate your life until you watch somebody die.
To me, I've had the craziest life to me that just seemed normal because I always heard some crazy stories. But when this happened, I took back at the first person that I know that passed away. That was my homeboy. Or all the life and death situations I've been in. I've been in situations where I should have been killed a couple of times, by police, by enemies, and whatever. And none of that shit ever fazed me. And I was the dude that I would bust your balls or anybody for even having a slight breakdown. And then the COVID, not just because the COVID, but no working, and then my mom's being sick. And then when that happened, everything that I thought about. Somebody had brought it up to me. They're like, dude, I don't know how you didn't break when this happened, and this happened, and this happened. Like, yo, you know what? You're right. And then you realize you got to decompress for all those hits you take along the way, because those shits add up. And then what happens is, you when it's too late, either you could fall, it could out you, it could finish you, or it could make you fall on the wrong side of, not watching your next move because you'd like just giving up. Because I tell you, believe me, having that from not working, anxiety from not working, my mom's the single dad, and I'm thinking about my son. My son is the thing that was the number one thing. Like, it was pretty funny. Like, when that whole shit happened, I was like, yo, my back is hurting. Yo, I think my kidneys are fucked up. Yo, so I basically wrote my will and all this shit, thinking my back. Long story short, I have arthritis in my back a little. The kidneys are fine and all that. But I was bugging so hard from everything that I was already like, yo, dude, this is what's happening. Like, yo, everything caught up, and I'm like, yeah, I should have, it seemed like, why not? You know what I mean? Because everything else was happening. And then it was like, yo, dude, you're bugging out. People were telling me like, yo, you bugging out. And then I was like, yo, you're right. I am bugging out. And I can't, I'm always the one who catches myself saying like, dude, you're bugging. Check yourself. I had to check myself. So that's why I started working out even more and doing all that shit. But if it wasn't for that, for my whole son and thinking, you like, people during this whole shit, they got to decompress, one way or another, or whenever, the bumps you take along the way, you got to let yourself breathe.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to have that all the way along the way. It's like we're not, our society is not really built that way to address those things, because it's such a forward progressing, you know what I mean? Always trying to outdo the next person, kind of a world we live in. But it's every time that something like this happens, right? And I'm speaking from my own experience too. Every time that you get to those moments where you're like, you explode and you know what I mean, you break down or whatever, you think back and you're like, this was a buildup of 1,000 tiny cuts.
Yep.
All these tiny little incidents that built up and built up and built up, and I never ever let it out. I always just said, I could take more. I could take more than that. I can handle this.
That was my whole thing.
I'm a man. I could do it. This is what men are supposed to do. But there's nobody. Some people just naturally have this like a infrastructure around them where they can let it out, and they have someone to talk to, a friend or whatever. You know what I mean? Or some people have the foresight to be like, I should talk to a therapist about this. I think that's like one of the most missing things in the American lifestyle is the stressing the importance of talking to a therapist, because it's got such a weird stigma around it that you're either you're a pussy, or it's a waste of time, or it's nobody else's business, or just shut up, man up. You know what I mean? You're being a crybaby. There's all these like stigmas around it, but it's not. You're not talking to a therapist for any of those reasons. Typically, it's because you're trying to avoid the thing in the future that's coming. If you don't talk to somebody about this stuff now, if you don't let it out some way, you're gonna explode. You're gonna break down.
No, exactly. My thing, I never had no therapist, but I realized, you got to talk about some shit or you got to let it out one way, or else it's gonna come out in your health or in violence. Or some shit like that. You know what I mean? It's gonna come out in a real bad way. And my life since I'm a kid, I had a crazy life with a lot of very crazy things along the way. From living a wild lifestyle where I should have been killed, I never thought about it. Then, boom, my wife passed away. Boom, right away, I had to go right into overtime because I had a son. So now I'm a single dad right away. He was a year and a half old. Okay, boom. And I've been into that mode. And then on top of that, I'm in a band for a living. I'm not in fucking Van Halen. I'm in a hardcore band, which means I gotta be on tour to survive. We don't get no royalty checks, despite what all you people think out there. Mabel, we get our money from playing live and from merch that you buy. So make sure you go to casaderock.com. But no, but the fact is, you know, it was one thing after another, and then that, and then okay, right away, you know, I was very lucky. Like I told my son, I tell him because I have to talk about him, you know, not his mom passing away at an early age. I said, but look how cool that is. You have a grandmother and we share a mother, because my mother had to become his mother. You know what I mean? So boom, right away. I had not that I had a replacement. He'll never be, you know, I have his replacement, his real mother, but there was somebody there. And then I was able to keep trucking along, you know, being on tour, coming back, my son, this, you know, and then life goes on. And then when this happened was during the COVID, no work, not knowing when we're going to work. Then my mom's passing away, and then all that shit. And then, you know, it all comes back to that. It took all those hits for me to say, yo, you know what? I think I'm bugging out. Like for the first time. And I even called Adam Blake. Shout out to Adam Blake, because once in a while I'll hit him up for a yoga routine. I'm joking, not a yoga routine, but I'll hit him up about some supplement shit, you know what I mean, or something. And you could ask him. I told him a while ago, yo, so should we, you know, it must be good to, you know, get off coffee for like a week or two. You know, I'm like just picking his brain to hear his whole insight on it. And he was like, yeah, it's great, you know, clear out for it a week or two and then get back on it. And I was like, yeah. And then I started saying, you know, whatever. Yeah, I started kind of, you know, asking him about a supplement or some shit. And then I would always, you know, start thinking, I was like, yo, let me cut off that shit. You know, okay, yeah, I should clear off of it anyway. I've been drinking too much of it. Now that shit's bugging me out. And being home, I was just me and my son. Whoa, where you go, Joe? There you go. Being
I'm back.
Being at home, you know, my brother works and all that, but it was mainly me and my son. I ain't hanging with no other grown-ups, reality. So a lot of it was just me kicking it with myself. And then I'm like, that's why I sort of realizing, and people around me were like, yo, you're bugging out, dude. Like, you know, you're just working you're overtime, but you're not alive. You know, just like you know, I was just focused on, I got to cook for my son, you know, and then basically what's going to happen next kind of shit. And then I was like, word, I got to check myself. You know what I mean? I was like, but again, then I realized, I said, yo, you know what? I got to do something than just dwell on it. Now I was already started to work out with the heavy bag. And then that's the shit, everybody out there. Hit that heavy bag. Hit that heavy bag or fucking lift some weights. That shit helps your brain, and it fucking, and it wears you out in a good way.
There's something like, it's another, like one of these weird human condition things that happens when you do something difficult, when you do some sort of hard work, some sort of heavy lifting, something that's like physically stressful. You know what I mean? Like you do something physically stressful and the mental stress goes like there.
Yeah, you channel it through that.
Yeah.
You know, you always hear people saying it.
Like little tricks that people have, and like, you know, the ancient wisdom that like is sort of, it's like tried and true, and stuff that most people should just know in their instinct, and it's not natural to do these things in our society. But there's people figuring it out, and there's a lot of examples lately of people who like really push themselves to like limits beyond what most people would ever do, and it provides like some serious mental benefits and stress relieving benefit and you know, mental clarity. And I look at like I'm sure a lot of your listeners see John Joseph's posts. You know, he posts shit every day, and it's like, this is a dude who is like, I don't know what his I don't want to like speak for him, but he's definitely like fighting something. You know what I mean? Like he's like, every day is like a fight. It might be a fight against mortality. It might be a fight against painful past, a painful upbringing, whatever. But he's like in a fight, and if he's not fighting, he's losing.
Yeah.
And he was not gonna lose. He is not gonna lose. So he just gets up every day and he documents it, and that's what's really, really cool about it, is that you can see it. It's documented for years and years and years of his regiment and his like will to push himself to do something that's so hard, so difficult. Most people would never even consider it, and he just pushes, and it gives him like extreme clarity. Otherwise, he would be so mentally stressed, probably. That at least that's just what I'm gathering from it. You know what I mean? He would be so lost without
absolutely.
The physical stress alleviates the mental.
And also, like, he wants to live on top of doing exactly what you're saying. But when you want to live that much, you make yourself get up and do shit like that. Like, you know, straight up. Like, motivation is not easy. I don't care, everybody. You know, there's days Blood Clot and Toby wake up saying, fuck this. But something reminds them, you know, me, no joke. When I started the whole shit, during this whole shit, and with my training and all that, I got my son's name up on a what you call it, a marker board I have in my room of shit I got to do, and I put their names up, and I put it up, and then every time I say, I don't feel like working out today, I look at that and I say, I just put my sneakers on. It ain't even a question, because you gotta. Sometimes you need that little quick reminder of like, oh, it ain't. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for them, and when it's for them, it goes. I don't care if it ain't raining, we ain't training. It doesn't matter. You know, when it comes to seeing that, my sons get the 1,000,000% Hoya Rock. Even if I just give myself 100,000, they get the quadrillion version of me. You know, so
I think
CasaDeRock.com, home of that fly DIY. You want to support the show? Go cop some merch right now. We got a lot of new t-shirts, shorts, and caps available. Everything is made in-house by your boy on the spot. So show some love, support the movement. CasaDeRock.com is the spot.
Oh man, I lost my train of thought here. I just think it's so important to just be busy. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
being busy, and like I have a lot of like close friends who would say that I keep myself too busy, and I have too many things going on in my life, and I'm too distracted, and you know what I mean, stuff like that. But like, and you know, it's probably a little bit true, but it's also like I need to be like this. I have to be like this because I'm also like I'm chasing. You know, I'm in a fight myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We all are. You know what I mean? I'm not like unique in that, but like there's battles. You know, personal battles, inside battles, family battles. Like it's just work battles.
Yep.
Life is a struggle, and like to combat it, you have to like be fighting. You have to fight, man. You got to be like, you got to find that thing in you that's like, all right, what's next? What's next? Like I got to do the thing that's next. And that's me anyway. That's how I'm built. You know what I'm saying? Some people aren't built like that, but like if whatever it is, even if you're focusing on just that one battle and that one thing, no matter what it is, you gotta get up and fight. You gotta fight. Because
no, that's for sure. And like I would say it all the time, like, and not to be in a fucked up way, but I would think of somebody who had been in a worse situation, even, you know, stories you heard about, and you're like, yo, shit does get worse, you know? And then it's like, you know, my mother told me this, and I said it before on another one, but this is something my mother said when my wife was real sick. She came and told me, she goes, I want to tell you something. The greatest thing God gave us, and I always say this, I believe in God, despite all you heathen sloths out there in the world, you know, but she goes, the greatest thing God gave us was tomorrow. And when she told me that, in my head, I was like, Ma, I don't want to hear this bullshit. But the fact is, every day I woke up, you had to do something. I had my baby boy. And the next day I knew I wanted to see a day old. Oh, I watch him walk. I watch him do this. And then it becomes, I was like, yo, I'm glad I had this other day. Unfortunately, there's some other fucked up part of life we got to deal with. But now I got this. You know, the life still goes. And that's still a part of us. That piece of life right there. I got to make sure that, wow, I'm lucky I need that other day. And then I saw the next day got me further to seeing it. And I was like, you know, that just stuck in my head forever. That shit could be on one of these fucking, it might be one of these Kung Fu Panda movies. But she told me that, and when she told me that, it never made more sense to like literally days later being with my son, you know, during, you know, having him through people, you know, her being sick and treatments and all that wild shit. And then I was like, yo, he needs me. Yo, every time I gotta wake up and I was good, I said, oh, even better. Again, fast forward now makes me think, okay, you know, if I wake up and I don't have to go to the hospital for nothing, it's a win. I won for the day.
Yeah.
The son got clothes. I'm making his food. You know, we have the lights put on, and I don't got to go to the hospital. We won today.
My daughter was
win every day.
Visiting recently. My daughter was visiting recently, and she was doing like a workout video, like a Peloton workout video, and I was like. I went over there. She's like, "You want to do this video with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So I'm like doing this like a no weights aerobic workout with her in the living room, you know. And the instructor said something that I was like, "This is this in the middle of like agony," because I'm like, "Man, this is fucking hard. Like, I could do half of the stuff she was doing, you know." And she said, "Feeling pain is a privilege." Being able to work out like this is a privilege because there's a lot of people who would love to do this and they can't, and they're paraplegic or they're in bed or they're sick and they can't do it. So this is a privilege, and feeling this pain is a privilege right now. So shut up and do the thing. It was like some crazy, like, you know, burpees or something like that. And I was like, damn, I wish I didn't hear it because it's so true. It fucking hurts my feelings. You know what I mean? It's like the most true thing when you're in agony and you just want to be like, shut up. But damn, that's the truest thing.
You know, again, the same kind of thing. You know, I would think about, you know, how, you know, unfortunately, again, with my son, you know, his mom doesn't, but I said, look how lucky I am. She fucking passed away at 30 years old. I was like, look you know, I'm over here at 35 right now. And look at, no, you know, I'm a little older than that. But you look how many people that we're losing, you know, they're dying young and still they made it to their 50s at least. You know what I mean? I start thinking, I'm like, wow, man, you know, you really are lucky every year you're here, you know, to enjoy something within that year. Very, very lucky. Because along the way, you lose shit. And besides that, your clock is ticking. And it's like every year, you really learn how to, and then you start thinking, look at rest in peace, Paz. You know, Paz, mad young. A lot of people, young people. Yeah. A lot of young people passing away in the 50s, in your 50s. That's young. You know, that should be young. You know what I mean? Like, not for dying how they're dying now, like, unfortunately. And it's like, you know, I had my mother till she was 80 years old at least. And there's people that have older and younger, but I'm like, man, I started telling myself, I'm lucky to have her 40 plus years. My son's lucky to have her 12 years, you know, where he could remember her. You know what I mean? That's another thing people don't understand. You know, you want to, I wanted my son to also have a woman figure around, not to just be raised by gorillas. You know, he got to be the civilized version of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I was like, so I'm glad he got that.
Yeah. Growing up, my mother's mother passed away when she was 6 years old. And it never hit me until I was like deep into adulthood. And I'm talking about like 3 years ago. I'm 43 right now. Yeah. I was probably 40. It really hit me of like, oh man, like all of the whatever issues and hangups I ever had with my parents, like, oh, my parents grew up fucked up. My parents had problems. My mom grew up in a weird, crazy house. My dad grew up, abused, and like they did pretty good considering.
Yeah.
It's still like there's still things that like hurt because things,
Yeah.
but like considering where they're coming from, they did pretty good.
Yeah.
And like there's a point you get to in your life, because full disclosure, like I do talk to a therapist. I talk to a therapist every single week. I talk to somebody.
You told me.
And we talk for an hour, and just like I vent about whatever happening in my life, and he it's not like he gives me advice. It's more like you're giving yourself advice, and he holds the mirror up. So when you see it, it has to be because you said it and you thought of it. You know what I mean? That's more what it's like, is holding a mirror up to you.
Yeah.
And then you start to see what you don't like about yourself, and saying like, oh yeah, when you hold that mirror up, I hate myself from that angle. So I could change this thing about myself. And thank you for showing me.
Yeah.
So there's a point you get to. This is something I learned from him, is that there's a point you get to in your life where you start to see your parents for what they are, not as your providers, and not as your oppressors, and not as like this separate entity. You start to say like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me. We're on the same level now. And I can completely relate. And I hit that maybe a little bit late in life. I don't know. I feel like culturally, some cultures are better at recognizing that early. And some cultures have like a deep respect for parents.
Yeah, definitely. Americans are a little bit wilder. And when I don't just say, when I fuck around say, oh, white guys, I don't mean old country white people. I mean American white people, where 18 years old, they tell their kids to get out of the house. And when their parents turn 60, you're in an old folks home. That's some shit that Latin people don't do. You know what I mean? I tell my son now, I'm brainwashing my son in one way, that he makes sure he keeps at least a room in the attic for his crazy father. I said, I'll stay out of your house, out of your way with your kids. If I want to be a single pops, I want to be with my son, at least to know where he's near. I go, I'm cool with it. I'll be out of your way. I won't be in the way, nothing. Just keep a spot for the kid in there. Like, I want to be next to him to the day I go.
Do you prefer attic or basement?
I think, man, you're right. Maybe the basement. But it depends where, if there's flooding or what.
Yeah.
But keep a room for the kid somewhere.
I just hit that point. Like, personally, I just hit that point, in my recent years, where I started to actually call my mom, call my dad, and apologize for shit that I did, that like I was seeing it this whole time through like these ridiculous teenage goggles, and I'm a grown man with a family, and like, but you have to live through certain things to be able to relate. And then you live through a thing or make a mistake or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like you go over certain hurdles, and then you look back and nothing looks the same anymore. So like now I could call my dad and say, hey, listen, I never asked you what this was like. I just looked at you, pointed a finger, and tried to feel sorry for myself instead of asking you, damn, man, that must have been hard. That must have been tough. Like, how did you get through that? Is it still affecting you? Are you still like, you know what I mean? Like, those type of things to come with age and experience, just to be able to do that. But culturally, maybe another, like, I think if you're raised a certain way, you might get to that point a little quicker.
Yeah,
I was
but
not
also
raised,
generations. The way our parents thought was like, hey, you got to keep working. Oh yeah, that's cool. You got a problem. Well, I got a problem too. Deal with it. That's that generation. They were meant to. That's why you got a bunch of psychos, alcoholics, child abusers, and fucking, because they had that whole pent up shit, and they were like, you got to let that shit go. That's why I tell people, I was like, you got to let that shit, release that shit every time you hit a bump along the way. You let that shit add up, it's gonna come out in a bad way. You're gonna be abusing your kids. You're gonna become, dependent on some, or you're gonna come out, I'm a sucker for violence, and when I'm in the winning side of it or watching fights or something, But it's like, you gotta that's I don't need to live off of it. If I see it, okay, whatever. But like, I don't want to ever be not in control because of what I already knew was adding up. Like, what happened to yourself, along the way. All those things happen to you. So I can't let that beat me. So if that makes me flip out in a way, that shit beat me. And in my head, I got to be the champ of champs. That's the one thing with me. I got to run my shit. That's why when I started feeling out of control, I said, I got to do what I think keeps me in check. Like if it was cutting out the coffee, this and that, I was like, nah, fuck that. I got to be in control. And that made me fight with myself, and at least in a good way. But I'm like, you got to learn, again, along the way, thank God now, I wasn't living a real reckless lifestyle, but I was able to use a negative into a positive. And everybody don't got that shit. My only advice is to people, let that shit out along the way. When something happens, go to a bar if you drink and talk to a stranger, but talk to somebody about it. You know what I mean? Get a heavy bag and hit that shit out. Do something like that. Something where you ain't going to kill yourself because you're going to regret it when you're dead. Believe me, because life's too good. You know what I mean? Life's still too juicy.
There's a lot of there's a lot of things worth living for, man. There's so much the experience that you have from birth to death. I think in most cases, the path you travel is so small and tiny and short, and like you cover so little ground. You only see so many places. You only meet so many people. We are fortunate that we have the I guess it's like whatever that bug is, that wanderlust, or that like thing where you needed to be in this band. You had to go on tour. There's like a thing that you had to like get out there and like go widen your path. But like most people don't do that. Most people aren't Hoya Rock. Most people aren't ever gonna live the life that you lived, right? And it's just a shame to know that people limit themselves and would literally cut it short. When you only did this much.
I know.
You cut it short. You only did this much. You only had this much time at all anyway, and you only did this much with it. So like it's just such a sad thing, man. It's so terrible, man. People like it's such a it's a waste, but it's just again, you can't live somebody else's life or be in their skin. And it must be absolutely torturous and agonizing for that person to actually make that decision that that's what they're going to do. It must be hell. It has to be a living hell. And then you decide that that's the choice. Terrible. Absolutely. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I guess I could imagine, I've never been that deep myself. I've been low, but I've obviously never been that low.
Yeah.
Because I'm still. So, it's a sad thing, man. It's sad because of the waste.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The
waste.
Yeah. Again, that depressed where you do something to yourself, because I'm like, I would never had that mentality. I never did, even that. But I also saw it from a different angle, because when my wife was sick, basically she had a very rare cancer that basically, the countdown was on at one point. We were going to other countries getting quack doctor medicines to try. We fought every second of as far as we could fight. with every hope from, if it meant rub holy water, do that. That it meant fucking, go to a mosque and spin around. We did whatever, doctor, whatever weird we did everything we could do to get another day of life out of her. So there's no way, when I saw that and she knowing that she was going to go and still like, yo, just one more day, see, all that. And then I think, yo, not that I don't feel bad for people who do something, end themselves because of depression or something. That sucks. But I see it in a different way. And the people in their world, I can't get in their heads. That's their reason. Their life is that over. But I seen it from what we fought to live. I don't know no other way. I don't know no other way. So
I think that's the normal way. That's the normal way. That's the way. That's the instinct way. That's the human nature way to fight for life. But then sometimes something breaks in there.
Yeah.
And they don't want to fight anymore. They want to actually speed it up.
Yeah.
They want to fast forward through it.
I know.
And that's like
horrible. It's sad because like going in their head, they think it's at its worst. When I'm like, yo, it ain't at its worst. It's bad, for you right now. Again, what my mother always said, that one, the next day means, yeah, it was bad, but not that bad. You're here another day. You live another day, another day further away from something, another day for an opportunity to pop up, another day towards freedom, another day towards a new cure, another day towards, you have that one little laugh, then that one little laugh becomes to a bigger laugh, and the next thing you know, you're back in business. And it's like, yo, but if you don't give yourself those, you fall in those little deep pockets, but if you don't wait, you got to do the waiting game. You got to play that waiting game. That's where people fold. But I'm like, yo, just wait. You got nothing else to do. Offing yourself is too easy. It's too easy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Give it a try. Like, I hear you. That's like when you're losing the game. I was the king of that. I would just flip it over and say, all right, fuck it. Not even fit. But then you're like, man, I don't know. I could have probably flipped the game, or I had a chance of winning. And I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? And then you realize, oh, I use that shit for everything. And I'm like, just wait it a little longer. Like anything. You sell houses now. You know how that game plays. You can also play that, wait a little longer, play the game. You might be playing and they're playing. It's a game. And you get, guess what? You waited a little bit longer. This just opened up and people have opportunities. Opportunities are everywhere. And with everything, not just jobs. We're just meeting somebody, a new TV show you like. Something's going to pop up that's going to stimulate you.
Yeah. There's a mentality, and these people tend to draw to each other, people who are always looking for the opportunity to say yes. Always be open to saying yes to a thing.
Yeah.
And there's like a Jim Carrey movie. It's a bad analogy, but there's a Jim Carrey movie about that where he was hypnotized or whatever, and he had to say yes to everything. And it took him on like a crazy journey. But like, if you're open, if your eyes are open and you're feeling strong and you're feeling positive and you're feeling healthy and you're feeling like you're looking around, you're aware of everything, and you're in your own, you're at peace with yourself. You're open to seeing things. You're open to saying yes to opportunities. And when you're depressed and you're low and you know what I mean, you're only thinking of the negatives. That's all you're gonna see. You're only gonna see negatives. And there's positive opportunities that will present themselves to you, and you will be blind to it. You'll just be blinded, and you won't be able to go down that path that maybe could have turned into something better. There's always like that choice, that like moment of making a choice where like I could go do this thing that's difficult, but if I pull it off, holy shit, this could come out of it. Something beautiful could grow from it. And those are the opportunities that when you're depressed and you're low, you just ignore them. You push them to the side. You don't care anymore. And that's the sad thing, is like the opportunity to do something difficult and build something that wasn't there before is a gift. It's a privilege.
Yes.
It's like that the work. It's a privilege to be able to work hard and feel that pain, but also be able to build a result for yourself out of nothing. That's a privilege.
You know what? Also, it is that we're lucky we have people around us, good people around us too. If it ain't just to talk to or that could point it out, because, you know, if I didn't have also people around me being like, yo, dude, you're acting out of pocket. Like, you know, like, yo, you're not like that. Sometimes you need somebody to remind you, you know, and if you, not everybody has that, you know, that's why you're lucky too, to have people around you that they're going to tell you, you know, what it is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You know, and
I have, like, mostly, like, you know, I don't know. I do have those people around me. I definitely do. And you know how we do, like, as, like, men, you try to, like, that's why I don't tell nobody nothing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to hear their advice, because it's probably right. And it's going to piss me off when I hear it. So I keep my mouth shut. But, like, you know, you have those very intuitive friends maybe who will figure out that something's up, something's wrong. What's the matter? What are you doing? This ain't right. You're fucking up here. What's going on? Like, those kinds of friends, they always, that's so important to have in your life. Those kinds of people, man.
That's why I think these podcasts are important, because some people don't have that, and it's like they're jumping in on a conversation and it might be on a subject that they're thinking, or it's just like, you're a fly in a wall to, like, dudes you might, be interested in on the way they look at things or whatever. That's why these things are like.
I know this has happened to you for sure, where somebody hits you up about a podcast that you did, and they say, "Yo, man, I really needed to hear that.
Yeah,
I needed to hear that thing." For sure, that's happened to you.
Absolutely,
I know it's happened to me.
No, for like, sure. And
I'm trying to talk to my friend. I just want to have a fun conversation with my friend. But if there's a side benefit for someone else that one of us says something that they needed to hear in that moment, that's amazing. And tell me every time, because I need to know that I need to know that I'm not just, like, spinning my wheels, that this is not just me having a self-serving thing. I'm actually doing something,
Exactly. That's why I would hear a podcast, the same thing. Wow. Me in general too. There's no shame in my game. I don't give a fuck. I know who I am, and I say whatever it is. I'm not one of these dudes that hide shit. That's why I got no shame in my game saying, I started bugging out, so I had to do this and that. I was having anxiety because of this and that. Because you know why? Also, I would hear a podcast or see Mike Tyson talking about, I had anxiety, and I'm like, that's like the hardest dude in the world. And I'm like, if that dude had it, of course that's what I have, and that's what I bet a lot of people have. And I say, I wouldn't have said it unless I heard it from that dude. And then I'm like, I'm not here for therapy for anybody, but I'm just here to say, that shit could happen to you. Because
I shared a great video, I think it was yesterday, I believe, on my Instagram story. Like, I saw this video and I had to share it because it was Mike Tyson. There was this real, like a street dude, like, that was trying to explain he was trying to explain to Mike Tyson why he's got to be, like, hard, and why he can't stand people who flip on their boys, and how you snitch and stuff like that. Which is, like, of course, it's reasonable understanding. I can't understand how people do that. You know what I mean? And Mike Tyson said they do it because they're scared. He's like, I'm scared too. I'm a coward sometimes. I get scared. I get anxiety. I get, just like you're saying, like, he's admitting all these things to this dude that's trying to look. When you're talking to Mike Tyson, you want to look. You don't want to look like a bitch. We're talking to Mike Tyson. Of course you will, because he's Mike Tyson. But you try your best at least. And he was putting on his best face and trying to do it. And Mike Tyson started talking, and there was two dudes, and they literally, as he was talking, they both just went like this. They just put their head down like little kids, because it's like, it gave me chills. It gave me chills watching it, because I'm like, this guy he was a god.
Yeah.
He was the heavyweight champ of the world. That is God status You're temporarily at God status.
Yep.
That's how, in America anyway, like the heavyweight champ,
And
if you're
as
an
a
American,
man, to feel like, yo, I'm the toughest guy in the world.
Yeah, the toughest guy in the world. That is like temporary God status. And for that dude to show himself the way he does, his every ugly little piece of himself, every scared little piece of himself, everything. He doesn't hold anything in. He lets it all out. And if he can do it, man, damn. Like everybody, they just bow their heads like in respect. Like it's amazing. He's one. He's got like, you know, his past and just, you know, whatever questionable things he did and this and that. But like for what he is now, for what he is right now, and I don't know him personally, but for what I can see, that dude is on some next level like spiritual shit.
Yeah, for sure. He's in tune with himself.
He's not a dumb jock. He's not a dumb jock. He's like
no. He got in tune with himself, and you could tell because you get to a point where you don't give a fuck about anybody else no more. So you will say that because that really shows he don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about him. You know what I mean? He'll be like, he always says like, yo, I was crying. I just cry sometimes, and this and that, and this and that. And then I be hearing shit like from him. I'm like, man, I don't even do that. And I'm like, oh, but if it's happening to him, of course that could happen to me. You know, why wouldn't it happen to me or that? And I'm like, that's why I said like before, not that I feed off other people's misery, but it helps you like a guideline. Oh, this happens. You ain't the only one because you think you're the only one. You know what I mean? It's like you always think, this happening to me, nothing else. Like they don't got a cure for what you have. There's always a, you know, some type of, not in every situation, but a lot of times it's Mike Tyson said it himself, as a matter of fact. He said something, our brains are designed to kill us. Your own brain is designed, if it means eating, indulging in drugs, and sex, or whatever. And I'm like, it's a fact. What you got to do? Let me be on a diet. What I got to do? Let me think twice before I hit that. Let me do that. And why? Because if not, our brain is going to say, do it. And I was like, yo, this motherfucker, you know, he's right. You know, and if it,
that's crazy.
Yeah. And he's fucking.
Like, that bugged me out. I'm like, wow.
He said it like they go, our brains are designed to kill us. So you got to keep it in check. I even wrote it down in the thing because I look at it and go, yo, that motherfucker's right. And that's the champ who programmed himself to say, I kill everything. Nothing gets past me. And he even knows, like, I got to check that. I'm a fuck up. Or somehow in the mix, he realized this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you realize it's the focus, you know, how you focus your brain on. Like, you know, again, a bunch of months, I think I'm dying from and then you realize I got back arthritis, but then my focus became something else for a plus. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to just, when you realize what you're working with, then you kind of could put it in the right room. But you got to just not think that that the house is built as it is. No, the interchangeable parts. You just got to realize that. Then you're like, okay, I got to work on this, but while I'm working on this, I could do this. That's going to build me up in this way so I can do this easier. You know, sometimes you got to get through those fucking humps. And thank God for dudes like Mike Tyson and shit like that. And then I'm like, yo, if he didn't talk about it, I'd be searching for some medical, you know, a medical answer that I can't just find unless I went to a doctor or have, you know, research Google and then kill myself because everything on Google tells you you're going to die. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, I'd rather hear about experiences. And then I'm like, and then you realize that's what this shit does. It helps you kill time. And it feels, for some people, it's the next person in the room, you know, so they don't feel like by themselves. I do that shit every time I work out. I don't even listen to music anymore. I'll put on a podcast. So it feels like somebody's there. And I listen to the convo. That keeps me more occupied while if I'm riding or, you know, working out, hitting the bag. I'm still listening. And then I'll be laughing, whatever. I'm like, that's therapy.
Well, this is just something I'm wondering. Do you watch, you seem to me like you don't watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, not at all. To be honest with you.
Listen to conversation and write music.
In my room, I only have I got no basic cable. I just got Netflix, Hulu, fucking Amazon Prime, and my computer. So I only watch. First of all, for the whole pandemic, I watched Survivor 1 through 40 like 10 times because I'm a Survivor fanatic. But that's it. I would do that, work on music, work out, and count calories. That's what I did for the past fucking 8 months. But in general, I wasn't a big watching TV guy. I'd watch YouTube for videos or like, shorts or like, podcasts on video. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I kind of killed. Because you could kind of still do something and not have to focus on it like a movie. You know what I mean? It's kind of like just being in the room with somebody.
It's so weird that there's this whole medium designed to stop you from thinking.
Yeah.
Like TV is designed, like when you want to watch TV, it's like, oh, I don't want to think anymore. I just want to sit down and watch something. And you sit down and a thing happens in front of you and you don't have to make decisions and you don't have to answer to anyone, and you're just like sitting there going, and like you're not accomplishing anything. No work is being done. No progress is being made. Nothing, maybe educational. You're learning a thing you didn't know before, but like, it's such an odd thing. I see podcasts in such a different way because a podcast typically is a conversation.
Yeah.
Which is that's a human thing to do.
Yeah.
Is to have a conversation. Yeah. That's what we're good at as humans, is conversing. And that's how like real education happens, is through conversations, I think. And
for sure.
And you're an experience, like you just said. So it's so funny to me. Like I catch myself in a bad habit of like, all right, it's this time of day, time to put the TV on. And then you sit there and you're putting it on and flipping around and you're not even really paying attention, or you're scrolling through Instagram, or you're watching a video on your phone while this thing's on in the background.
Yeah.
And it's just like nothing's accomplished here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And in those times when I catch myself, I say, all right, what can I do right now? Like it's like I saw it. I saw that mirror. I saw the ugly side. I saw the ugly thing I want to change. So shut it off. What's the thing I can do now? And those are times where you get like good chunks of work done because you're motivated and you're like, I'm gonna write lyrics right now, or I'm gonna finish up these contracts right now, or I'm gonna whatever. I go clean my room, whatever it is. Like I'm gonna do something that's positive for me. That's actually work.
This is a big part of it. There's two things that when you watch TV or something, you're taking two of your senses, which keeps you. That's seeing and hearing. You're not going to do nothing. When you have a podcast, you're just using one of your senses. That's number one. Number two, I think for me, why I like them more, if you could get my attention, look at you put something on fire, somebody getting punched in the face, a hot girl, you got my attention. You put that, anybody could get me visually, attention-wise. Now get me over here. It got to be something that touches that touches a chord in your head, and then to get caught, sonically, just hearing through a convo where you don't even need the visual, and something got you. Whoa! I wonder what he's gonna say about. Yeah, I get it. I think that's a deeper connection, and on top of that, you're able to still work if you need to work. You know what I mean? It doesn't occupy all your senses. Like driving, you could drive, put a podcast on. I love music. Don't get me wrong, but I'll put on a podcast at combo, and then I'll hear about just certain things, topics that get my goat more than something else. And I'm like, I want to find out about that more than, I know what's gonna happen in this movie. The dude's gonna blow up. He's gonna get that chick, and then at the end they're gonna smile, and you know what I mean.
And 9 times out of 10, you start watching the same movie you've seen a million times anyway.
Yeah.
And you know it by heart. How many times have you seen Nacho Libre?
Not enough.
Right? Too many. It's like you already know it by heart. It's something you love and you recite and you say, Anaconda squeeze. And you know all the parts coming up. But like, I don't need to watch it again. I already know it's funny. I already know I love it.
Yeah.
But I need that. If I don't want to have to think, I could put something like that on. I don't have to think. and that's dangerous. You know, especially like when you're fighting, when you're chasing that clock. You know, you're running against that clock, and you realize it and you recognize it. That's the kind of stuff where you look back. I would imagine that if I let's say like I'm gonna die 30 years from now, and I'm imagining myself on my deathbed, thinking back to like regrets. You know, one of my biggest regrets will be like, fuck, I wish I didn't watch so much TV. I wish you know what I mean? I wish I could take back some of that TV time and replace it with like, you know, whatever, anything else that's work and beneficial for me that I love doing. Anything.
Yeah, and again, I'm a movie guy. I love it. I haven't been in a lot of movies lately, like watching movies and stuff. But I'm a movie guy, and I love. Don't get me wrong, but I noticed that you know, again, a conversation is a brand new movie. If it's a good movie or a bad movie, that's another story. But it's always a brand new movie. You know what I mean? It ain't another. You know what I mean? It's constantly. My brain is always, you know, working, and I'm always. You know, I'm always out trying to think of the other angle of whatever they're going to say. Oh, but what about this? What about that? So it's constant like an exercise. Me kind of, I want to get stumped. You know what I mean? Because I'm always wondering, oh, shit. I'm like, I didn't know that. Oh, now I know that. You know, okay, I got one up on somebody else. You know, that's how my brain works. Like just trying to be one up on the next motherfucker. But fucking listening to the shit. And I'm like, but then I caught myself. Even my son says it. Yo, you don't even hear music all the time. You know, I put on oldies once in a while, some hardcore shit. But he goes, yo, you love podcasts. I go, yo, I chill out by myself also. It's like, you know, I got to be around somebody else who doesn't just play fucking Fortnite all night, all day, and fucking watches Nuatu and fucking animation shit. You know what I mean? I
know people have heard us talk about Mafia like too many times, right?
Love that.
My son got this game. My son got a game on his laptop, and it's Mafia.
And they actually learn how to do it.
It's the rules of Mafia, but it's a game that you just log in. You know, you go on the website and you play Mafia against strangers around the world.
It's like the way we played it.
It's called Among Us. It's
you
called
know,
Among Us.
Man, how many years we were trying to figure out how we could fucking make that fucking hardware.
Remember we talked about having the tournament?
Yes.
Remember that? We talked about having the tournament in New York City.
In Manhattan. Yes, at the Civic Center.
In Manhattan?
In Manhattan, at the Civic Center.
Yeah, the Javits Center.
We would all have to wear top hats too, I think was part of it. We would have to like the gentleman's ball.
But somebody figured it out, and it's called Among Us. It's pretty dope, man. It's cool. It's like different characters. It's not called Mafia. It's not Mafia based like the version we play. Yeah. But it's the same rules. It's the same thing. And you have like a little animated character that walks around and like interacts and asks questions and talks.
I gotta check it out.
You gotta vote somebody out. Yeah, it's dope.
For everybody out there in freaking podcast land, we talk about this game a lot. We ain't gonna go through it right now, but it's a game called Mafia. You play with a bunch of people, and we probably spent we spent dozens of hours playing this game on the road and backstages all around the world. It's a mind fuck of a game, and probably the greatest game ever that I ever played in my entire fucking 35 years of living. The best.
That I played over and over and over consistently without being bored of it. It's literally the only I've ever found.
But if you look online,
my childhood or adult life.
If anybody online wants to check out what we're talking about, the real version was started by a Russian professor, I think. It was called Wolf or something. It was like, it's a theme game. You could Google it. But it was taught to us by the Unearth guys. Shout out to Scumbag Susie and all those guys. They showed us a game of being basically being a dirty scumbag in this game. They pushed it. They passed it to us because they knew we would enjoy it, and then we passed it to our other friends that we thought would enjoy being scumbags. And fucking very slick game. It's all about poker faces, but it's an addictive game that we've been trying to figure out how we could bring it to the masses, and I guess some nerds already beat us to it.
Well, did you ever try to play it when you're not on tour?
No, because it works better when you're forced, when you got nothing else to do, and the people on the same wavelength. You know, like, again, when you're on the road, it's tribal. You know what everybody did that day. We all did the same shit. We all woke up. We were all in the cold room. We're all in the thing. We're all waking up. We all got to do our job of the day. But then it's like, okay, now what's something we all got in common? Okay, we could play this game and bug out. At home, people got, everybody's like, oh, I had a long day at work. One guy was home all day. The other dude, his wife is cheating on him. The other, the one kid is a brat. He's and then not everybody's on the same wavelength. I think on the road, you're forced to do something. Like, what I mean? And I
tried a few times
enjoy yourself
at home, and I was so excited, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna kick this party up a notch.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the first time I learned it, coming home from tour and going to a party again at my friend's house with, like, there's probably like 40 people there, and I took like 12 of my best friends at the party. I was like, "Yo, meet me in the dining room, whatever, over here." And we all got there, and I'm like, "All right, check it out." And I had the cards all ready, and they were like, "What are you doing?" Like, "What? We were just at a party. What are you?" I'm like, "Trust me, this is better than the party. Trust me, you're gonna love it." But nobody. I think you're right. It's like being forced to play it. Not being forced to play it, but having no other options.
Yes.
But to play.
And
it's not being forced. Yes. It's like, well, you're going to sit over here and do nothing, or you want to come over here and yell at your friends for a little bit.
Exactly.
Like, that's what makes it work.
You know,
I played it one time without being on tour once.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't that long ago, actually. It was like a month and a half ago.
And it worked
I played with my son, and it actually worked out really good. And it worked out really well, believe it or not, like surprisingly well. And that's why he started playing that game Among Us.
You know what? I started thinking that only asshole musicians were meant to play that game, because it only seems like musicians would understand it, right?
Yeah. I think you're right, man.
I don't know why, but there's something there. Fucking, there's something about that game and all that, and this whole shit. Like, you would think this would be the perfect time to play Mafia when people are home, but first of all, you don't got 12 people to play with, and then also it ain't the same. It's something exactly like, I don't know. You got to be like in a shitty place. It's like you're in jail and you're making the best of it.
Can you do? Is there a way we could play Mafia over Zoom?
Yes, that's something we're gonna talk about in the near future, because they could definitely get mad people there.
We need to get on that, yeah.
Yeah, we got to do Zafia. You're fucking yo, we're gonna fucking but what's up with you anyway? So what's the deal with the houses? I know you're selling what do you call it? Real estate now. You're doing real estate, right? A question I had.
I sell real estate.
That must be doing very good now, because I see everybody leaving major cities, so I'd be thinking like, wow, people who are selling and then the right location, they seen a lot of traffic.
I live in the right spot in Pennsylvania for it. You know what I mean? There's there's people leaving New York City like thousands daily, just leaving. So the closest, cheapest place to live is right on the other side of the New Jersey border in Pennsylvania, right where I'm at. That's the Pocono Mountains, and that's like
very large.
It. So like it goes way down. The price of everything, taxes especially, goes way down as soon as you cross over into Pennsylvania, and so it's like the most logical place if you want to try to have like at least a getaway house.
Yeah.
Or a new house, but still be connected to New York City by one highway. You know what I mean? It's a logical place to move to. So very busy right now. I'm very fortunate that I started doing this when I started doing it, because as soon as I was starting to get kind of good at it, it just blew up.
Yeah, that's dope.
And so I timed that one really well, not on purpose, just inadvertently. I timed it really well, and it's a crazy time to. It's just crazy everywhere in the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No,
nobody knows what's happening.
And get to work while you can.
You know?
That's great because
exactly.
we are fucked. You know, I mean, like we are really fucked. You know, again, people out there see us play a festival, thousands of people. That shit is all dope and all that. But those 1,000 people they didn't all come for us, and we're not getting $1 from all those 20,000 people. You know, we don't see it. We're in a hardcore band. We don't see a royalty check. We get our money from playing shows and selling merch. And a lot of people don't, you know, a lot of people understand and a lot of people don't. They automatically think like, oh, you guys are rock stars. First of all, there ain't nothing rock star about us. And don't ever call me that anyway. That's some corny shit anyway. I never want to be associated with that. But even to live like a rock star is the furthest thing. I wouldn't be fucking printing shirts in my crib, you know, if I had it like that. I like being creative and doing that, but we survive off, you know, we're like the Partridge Family. You know, I said with ugly dudes and playing a hardcore band, you know what I mean? Like, we're a family business. We make our money from playing in your city, selling merch, and, you know, and the people hopefully coming out and supporting us. And right now, there's no band fund. There's no record label giving us a retainer. There's no royalty check that comes in. We get our money from people buying the merch. You know, that's why, again, the podcast was a big thing. One, to keep occupied, you know, keep the brand alive and, you know, keep connected with people and, you know, and you know, and still feeding the scene. You know, all our podcasts do that where, you know, we still, you know, we're all like a vein in the body of this world. And we do it because we love it. And also, you know, it keeps the brand alive. It keeps our endeavors alive. Especially now when we don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, you know. But I've been hitting the podcast extra hard because I said, you know, I always, you know, I did it a long time ago. I wish I never stopped because I would have had a good resume by now. But it was the right time to redo it. I've been wanting to do it. You know, I love talking shit. Number two, what better time to keep the brand alive and let people know about the merchandise, about the band and what's going on. And what other better way than letting other people know about our people and our friends and like you and everybody else, what they're doing. And, you know, and that it's good when people are working during this shit. I get psyched because I'm like, yo, that's dope. Because I also know a lot of people are able to work, which is dope because that, you know, that's hope, you know, it's just, you know, somebody, you know, there's people out there, the rest got to catch up one way or another. I don't know when.
Right.
But it's,
I can't wait to play a show. I have no idea when that would happen again, but I miss it like crazy. I just miss it, man. I miss so much about it. I miss like my hanging out in a room with my friends. I miss making new friends, like the whole experience, like from the shitty shows. I saw a picture this morning of a show. One of the worst shows I ever played on any tour ever. Absolute, like, failure of a show. Like, probably, like, 7 people paid. Like, one of those kind of shows. Yeah. One of the worst shows I ever played. And we took a big photo. Like, we were on tour with another band. And we took a photo outside of this venue. And I saw that this morning. And even the photo was fucked up. Like the line was all fucked up, like, you know, like 2 rows of people and like one guy. It was just, the whole thing was just a fucked up night, fucked up day. I miss it, man. Even that, I was like, damn, like I played for probably 7 people in this room. Completely like failure of the show, but I would gladly do that again today, right now. I would love to play show for 7 people, and it took a second for that to catch up. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think that at first that I was gonna miss those kind of shows, but like this morning I did. When I saw that picture, I was like, damn, It's a privilege, man.
Yeah.
It's a privilege that 7 people came out to see me. 7 people in another country who English is their second or third language. You know what I mean? Like, that's a privilege any day of the week, man.
Yeah.
You know?
I was telling somebody that not too long ago. I said, I really can't wait to see people back home, you know, a lot of my friends or whatever, to like literally hug them. And then I say, and you know what? I'm actually psyched to see the people I didn't like that much, you know, to have the option to be that close. If I wanted to hug them, but I won't hug them. But just to have that option, and I'm like, you know, to be around, I go like, yo, put it like this, in 26 years, I can speak for Freddie only. We haven't been, you know, off a stage this long, unless he was in jail. Put it like that, you know, in 26 years. So everything was really, and it happened during a pandemic, during all this shit. It's like, it's the craziest feeling of not knowing what to do. So I try to stay creative with the merchandise, with the podcast. We're writing the 10th Madball album, because that's coming out in 2021, no matter what, pandemic or not. We're going to drop some shit. And I was like, yo, you know, we just got to keep planning for the future. You know, we got to hope that something's going to pop off, and we got to, you know, you can't just give up either. We got to invest in the future to make the future happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. Basically. So I've just been fucking trying to grind this shit. But I'm hoping something happens soon, because if not, my mask that I sell at my website, I'm going to start using them to rob banks because of, you know.
Yeah, what a great time. What a great time to be a bank robber, man.
Especially in Florida, where you could carry a gun and wear a mask.
Oh, America. Amazing. What a great time.
Let me ask you this. Wisdom, I know you had some shit. I know you were working on some shit. I know you work on it slowly and that, but you guys Richie was telling me, I forgot you had some new shit, or is that newer thing finished?
We have, Richie is just a workhorse, man. A workhorse, mastermind, like nonstop riff writer, songwriter, content creator. He's like next level. Like I honestly, I don't know how he does as much stuff as he does. He's really incredible. We have a whole lot of songs.
No kids. That's what that is. That's having no kids. That's why.
Yeah. And we have like a lot of songs like banked, you know what I mean? And I'm slowly whittling away at writing lyrics for them right now. I have lyrics for a bunch of songs. I don't know if it's like a cohesive album yet, you know what I mean? I think that's going to take a minute to like a cohesive thing that we can really put together. But I'm not worried about having cool songs to write to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Richie is just so good at it and on top of it. And like my time is limited at the moment because of my work and a couple other things. But like, I know that like once I am like let loose to really like write some shit, it's just gonna be like a flood coming out of me. You know what I mean? A flood.
But the plan is to do an album, drop an album or something, right? Because people want to know what's up with Wisdom. So you gotta, because you've been out of the picture a little bit.
Yeah.
With the podcast, you know, you're missing in action and people are starting to talk. I'm starting to spread rumors.
No, I'm still here, man. Yeah. I'm still here. I'm still talking to my people. It's just it took a little delay right now, you know what I mean? But I'll be when it happens, just get ready. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
But that's good shit. You're working on some new shit because Richie was telling me you were. And Post America, I know you're busy for that too, but Richie been holding it down. We're gonna get a little bit of more Joe soon, or what, on the podcast?
Yeah, definitely. We have a couple of cool things in the works. I was just texting with Richie today earlier.
You can't let these Italians, run the show, dude.
They're always trying to run the show. You know?
Italiano. Shout out to Richie.
Yeah, I love Richie, man. He's I was just, it's funny. I told you I was talking to Sharky yesterday, and we were talking about Richie and like how that same thing about having a meal and like bonding that friendship over like food. It's been like a nonstop. That's been nonstop since we met. You know what I mean? I met Richie. His band Crutch, which I joined later. Crutch was playing a show, and there was some Nazis showed up to the show, and I was still new and fresh, like going to shows. I didn't really know too many people. I went to the show with 3 people or 4 people, but other than that, it was all, this is brand new to me. I don't know. I'm not a scene guy at all. I'm brand new to this. And so these Nazis were at the show, and they started doing their Sieg Heil thing, and the entire band took their instruments off and jumped off the stage. Yep. And so we were like, well, I guess we're with these guys.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I was it. So it was like, I had seen him around a couple times before that, but we never really had like a conversation. But like after some crazy shit goes down at a show like that, you got to eat and talk about it. And that's what happened. And we've been doing that ever since. And he's one of my favorite people in the world. And yeah, he's incredible. So like when you look at like the people that are like the reliable ones, that like, the ones who could keep it together and be reliable all the time, that's him. That's the dude.
Yeah, no, so that's good.
He's still human, and he could, I know he's not a machine, like an actual machine, but like as far as being like a solid dude and a solid friend, that's him, man. He's that kind of dude. No. Hold on a second, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's good shit. The main shit, I know, working on music, we need new wisdom, and everybody, I know people must be asking the same thing, asking you like they ask us, are you working on new music? And I'm waiting for new music. Any band that drops something new, a new video, I'm on it right away because I don't do shit all day. So I'm like right away trying to listen. And, I'm working on an album myself. But I've been back into music a lot. So I was wondering, and let me tell you, Richie's been holding it down. The podcast been keeping me going. That's one of the, I always tell him, don't make me wait so long because I got to work out. I work out every day. So I need a new one every week. Yeah. So when he slipped, then I get stuck with these other fucking bullshit ones. But all right, let's take it.
What I do have, I'm very happy with as far as like new Wisdom and Change music. Like the stuff that we do have is I'm really happy with it, especially well, whatever. There's a few select ones that I'm like, those are definitely like album songs. You know what I mean? Those are definitely like there's songs that you're like, that might be a 7-inch song. Maybe when you hear the all 15 or 16 or whatever to pick from, maybe they'll get on an album. But there's a few that you're like, all right, we're gonna build the whole album around this. There's a yeah.
That's good to have a good strong and to be psyched about it. That's the main shit. You're psyched about it. You could tell what they're gonna be. Yeah. They're babies. You can see, they're gonna grow. You had babies before. You already know this one's gonna be tall. This one's gonna be short. This one, they could change, but sometimes you could see it early on. That's the shit. I got a lot of good music banged to it. This record's straight up bank robbery music I'm gonna do on this next album because that's the state of mind I've been in. The movie Heat. I put that shit on, like shootout scenes, and I write to that shit. I be doing shit like that. I'm like, this is how I feel right now, and I want this shit to sound like that. But fuck.
That's sick.
Okay, but that's good. You're working. The podcast. It was good that Richie got on this kid, Cologelo, whatever his name is. That was a good podcast with a Bronx Tale kid.
Oh, Cologero. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, it was a good.
That's a working hard. That off. Yeah, man, that was dope.
Yeah, you're working hard. But good shit. But listen, before we get out of here, we're gonna do a quick little game. First thing I'm gonna give you a word, and the first thing that pops in your head, you tell me what you think of. All right.
All right.
Ready? Stage dive.
Scott Vogel.
Pennsylvania.
This is hardcore.
Craig ahead.
Bald.
Singers.
John Brandon.
Metal.
Iron Maiden.
Coffee. First in the pot. Wisdom Roast. By who? By
Dead Sled.
There you go.
Dead Sled Coffee.
Rap music.
Shout out to Luke Rhoda.
Luke, that's again. I tell
again.
everybody that's the reason I do hardcore for Luke. Rap music.
Yes. Ooh, Wu-Tang.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Jared Wiener. However you say
COVID.
it. My brother.
COVID.
Oh my God, Donald Trump.
Man.
It's there. It was right there in front of me. What can I say?
Punk rock.
GBH.
Pizza.
Luke Rhoda.
Hardcore.
Madball.
Yeah. You know what? There's no better way to end this. I thought you were gonna say something else, but that's even better. You beat my. I'll take that. Yo, please stop.
Listen, man. If you wanna experience every level that hardcore has to offer, if I was bringing a stranger in and saying like, listen, you got one chance to like this kind of music. I got to pick the right band because you got one chance that you're ever going to like this kind of music. If they don't like this, they're going to be turned off forever and have one chance, one band to show a stranger what hardcore is. It's going to be Madball.
Salud, my brother.
Yeah,
good looking. You know what's up. Thank you. Thank you for that. That question wasn't for me, but I'll take that. I'll take any pat in the back right now. I haven't been touched by anybody in months.
I'm patting you.
Yeah. I feel the gorilla paw already on me. But yo, good shit. Where could everybody catch or get your merchandise? Where everybody could catch the podcast? Let them know.
Yeah, go to All In Merch, and we always have some new cool shit up there for sale. Right now, I think we got some hats we're trying to do, and we got some. Go check out Richie's. Richie's got a cool little straight edge clothing line, Crucified Straight Edge, and he's got a real cool hoodie for sale there. Nameless Prints. Go to Nameless Prints, and you can get all kinds of cool Wisdom and Change stuff. I'm sorry, did I say All In Merch before?
Yes.
I meant Nameless Prints.
All In Merch.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Nameless Prints, and shout out to our boy Joe Stanley from Departed. He prints all our merch for us, most of our merch for us. There's always some cool stuff. Actually, we have stuff on Cold Cuts too. Cold Cuts merch has a few Wisdom and Chains items also. And listen to the podcast, Post America Podcast. We're on everything from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, all of that stuff. So go listen to the podcast. And, keep an eye out for new Wisdom and Chains music. Go cop that new 7-inch that we did, a split 7-inch with Sharp Shock on Fast Break Records. And the latest podcast episode is with our drummer, Luke Rhoda, who's always like a funny,
Luke.
one of the most entertaining human beings ever to live. So I love that dude to death.
Greatest humans on earth.
He's one of the best ever. Yeah. So go check that out. And thanks for having me.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad to finally get you. We've been talking about it for a while, and then I was getting other people in, but this was a good week. I was gonna get some people in, and I was like, let me get in. And like I said it before with Richie, I want to do one eventually where we get. I hope Mav's good. I hope all the rest of the guys are good. You got to tell them I said what's up. But when everybody's feeling better, because they will be better, I want to do the podcast mashup where, by the way, because I'm going to have Diablo's Den, not just Ezek, because I know enough about him. So I'm going to do a Diablo's Den Smoking Word podcast this week, and I want to do one like we talked about. We want to do a Post America Smoking Word, And we'll drop a T-shirt for that too. We'll drop a fucking T-shirt and put it out there for everybody. So everybody look out for that. But Joe, good to talk to you. Shout out to fucking Jared Weiner, BJJU. He got another fight coming up. You know when that fight is? His next fight?
I think next week.
So everybody go to follow BJJU on Instagram and find out. Jared's our dude. So we got to make sure he brings us that shit out.
Jared is one of the hardest human beings alive. And he's just such a solid dude and a truly good, kind-hearted, moral person who, like, he's a good example. He's a kind of guy you set as an example. So yeah, definitely go follow BJJ United and see what a real leader looks like. Yeah, but just remember, you could, and he'll be my witness on this. I'm 1-0 with him by submission. I gave him the Conor McGregor, and I retired right after that. So never forget. Yo, shout out, good to see you. One love. We're gonna talk. We'll talk soon. Say what's up to Junior and everybody. And I will. And we out of here.